Hello guys, welcome to this session. We're discussing about humidity. In the past video we saw the vapor, we saw the concept of vapor, the various factors that can affect the evaporation. So today let's see the humidity. Let's see the concept of humidity. Simply humidity, this is the measure of the extent to which the atmosphere contains the water vapor or moisture. So it is the measure of simply the amount to which the atmosphere occupies the water vapor or how it contains the water vapor in it. Now from there you get that they can be this dew, which is simply these are just the deposits formed when the temperature falls slowly in the drops of the water vapor. So when the drops of water vapor they are formed in the falling of the temperature, so leads to the deposits. Now these deposits are what we call the dew. Now the dew point, this is simply the temperature at which the air must be cooled to become saturated. Take an example in an air container. If the water vapor at the pressure of 80 millimeter of mercury were to be cooled, the dew would form at 7.9 degrees. Now let's see the measurement of relative humidity. Now let's see the concept of absolute humidity and relative humidity. Absolute humidity, this is the mass of water vapor present in a unit volume of it, and it is usually expressed in grams per cubic meters. So absolute humidity, just a mass of this water vapor that is in air in the unit volume, and simply it is expressed in gram per centimeter plus gram per meter cubic. Now the absolute humidity is not very frequently used since in practice we are more often concerned with the degrees of wetness of the air. Now let's move on to the relative humidity, which is simply the ratio of the mass of the water vapor actually in a unit volume of air to that is required to saturate it at the same temperature. Now, relative humidity equals to mass of the water vapor upon volume of air required to saturate the air at the same temperature. It is common in practice to quote this relative humidity as a fraction or a percentage. Thus, you can simply say relative humidity equals to mass of the water vapor over volume of air saturated the air at the same temperature times 100%, where just M as the mass of the water vapor actually present in unity of given volume of air, the capital M as mass of the water vapor required to saturate the air at the same temperature. Relative humidity, it can also be defined as the saturation vapor pressure of the water, the dew point divided by the saturation vapor pressure at the original air temperature. So this is the other way you can define the relative humidity. Simply the saturated vapor pressure at dew point divided by the saturated vapor pressure at air temperature. You have to note that the low value of relative humidity of air means that the evaporation takes place readily from the surface of air, from the surface of water, while the higher value of relative humidity, then the evaporation does not take place readily from the surface of water. Now, humidity atmosphere is the one that is saturated with water vapor. So, if asked what is this humid atmosphere, humid atmosphere is simply the atmosphere that is saturated with water vapor. And the precipitation, this is simply defined as the evaporation of sweat from the skin. It's not so effective at cooling the body in humid atmosphere. You have to note that simply in cotton manufacturing industries are constructed on sites where the relative humidity is high, as we've seen that humidity is very important for the contents of the water vapor. The cotton fibers must not become too dry, otherwise they become brittle and hence cause difficulty in spinning. So that's why there have to be these cotton manufacturing industries. They have to be in high humidity areas. In contrast, a dry atmosphere is required by a warehouse for the storage of this food, tobacco, and assembling of certain electrical components, so as to avoid the various damages. And the air conditioning plants are installed in ships and buildings for the purpose of moderating the humidity. Now let's see the measurement of relative humidity. Simply, the relative humidity is measured by the hygrometers. The hygrometers, simply, these are the instruments that are used for finding the relative humidity at a given place. With most hygrometers, the relative humidity is determined by the first finding the dew point and then using it using the vapor pressure tables. So I hope it's clear, guys. Thank you for listening. We've simply discussed the humidity. We've seen the measurement of the relative humidity. We saw the concept of absolute humidity and the relative humidity. We've seen how we can find the relative humidity, and you've seen the measuring of the relative humidity that is measured by the hygrometer. Thank you.